Welcome back to the D1Softball podcast, part of the Learfield Family and Varsity Network. I'm Jenna with the best co-host around, Amanda Lorenz. And before we jump in, a quick reminder, especially this time of year, when you're out of town and you want to keep up with live college sports, be sure to download the free Varsity Network app. Available for both Apple and Android. Get your games on the go with the Varsity Network app, because some of the most important games, or the most important games of the season, really are coming up next, Amanda.
I can't believe we're finally here. We've been blessed with some really good softball, and the best softball is yet to come.
It's hard to believe that too, with the amazing softball that we've seen, but it's true. Somehow every year OKC does it.
Let's go. I'm so excited.
So pumped. All right. And for today's lineup, first we'll give a quick Super Regionals recap because that was crazy. Then we'll head into the Women's College World Series preview, and then our interview with Aliyah Binford from Ole Miss before we head into our plays of the week and our win and whiff of the week. All right. I think we're ready.
I'm ready.
Super Regionals. Let's go.
Let's go.
Every week, I feel like we're like, where do we start after that weekend?
This weekend, more than ever, it was like just so insane. I feel like my sleep schedule, being on the East Coast, those games went so late that, of course, I had to stay up for every inning. Like every game was just so good. So, gosh, it was so much fun, like so much on the line. And I think it was just so entertaining.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Great TV, first of all, but also, like you said, I think there's something about it. And we kind of talked about this last week. It's like the joy of winning and the agony of defeat. It's just so dramatic that like, how can you not be romantic about softball, you know?
100%.
I think one of the ones, I know you and I were pumped for Nebraska, Tennessee in particular.
Did not disappoint.
Right? Let's start there. I mean, geez.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, you had two just absolute dogs in Carlin Pickens and Jordy Ball going at it. Like, talk about putting the team on your back, both of them, in the most unselfish way. I just love the way like both of them compete, and they're definitely the star of the show, but I don't know. They just, the way that they act, I just like, am really here for it. I'm sure playing behind them is so much fun because they were a lot of fun to watch compete this weekend. And like, they just had that dog mentality. Like you could see it in their eyes, that they were in it to win it.
I couldn't agree more, because I feel like the real loss of the weekend was always going to be that we can't have both Jordy Ball and Carlin Pickens at the Women's College World Series. Totally. That's the loss.
Yep.
But breaking her own record too, Pickens.
Against Jordy Ball.
Right? After having done it with Brie Ellis too before that, it's like, okay, I see you, girl. I see you.
Yeah, she gears up when the best hitter is in the box. So gotta respect that.
And then seeing her, I don't know what your thoughts were, but in the bullpen throwing before the 7th inning, she's thrown, it's her third appearance of the weekend, 3 days in a row, and she's throwing more. That's dog mentality to me.
Yeah, I think she must just like get better the more she throws and just like feels more locked in. Cause this time of the season, they know, what makes them tick and how good they can be. So yeah, just super interesting, but love it. And it's so awesome for the young ones to look and see.
Totally. And I think actually our colleague with D1Softball, Rhiannon Pocky, she was on site covering Super Regionals in Knoxville. And she said specifically she was trying to dial in her changeup at that point in the game, which I'm like, fascinating. Clearly she's a perfectionist too, right? Like she's such a competitor.
Sure.
But so interesting again to see that.
Very.
Yeah. I thought that was fascinating. And then shout out in terms of Nebraska too, obviously their season. I mean, a record 8 Big Ten teams get in the tournament, 3 make it to Supers. Nebraska, the only OG Big Ten team too to make it to Supers. So yeah. I just want to give them a shout out from what they've done. Pretty ball, but also the cast of characters behind her who maybe don't get enough love.
Totally don't get enough love, but like what a group that loves their state of Nebraska. Like, I think that is one of the coolest parts about watching them compete is how much love and pride they have for playing for Nebraska and wearing that uniform, like it really gives me chills to see them like hug after big moments and see them celebrate things. It's like obviously means a lot to them, and that's really awesome to see.
Yeah, and a lot of transfers, like a lot of these teams, but transfers coming home to their home state. So it's full
Transfers not
circle.
transferring there for NIL. They're transferring because they have a lot of pride in it and want to play in front of, their family and represent the place that they're from, which is so cool.
Yeah. And it showed. It really did all season.
100%. Yeah. And, like Jordy Ball still has another year at Nebraska. So the fact that we get to keep watching her in that jersey is really exciting. And I'm really like, obviously too soon to call anything for 2026, but Nebraska, there's no way Jordy Ball is not ending her career in Oklahoma City.
I'm with you there. I would be shocked.
Yeah.
I would be shocked.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what? That junior class, Carlin Pickens and Jordy Ball, part of it, Nigel Kennedy. And then you look at like UCLA with Megan Grant, Jordan Woolery, like that class in particular is insane, Amanda. The people who are going to join you in the pro ranks after next year, I can't wait.
I can't wait, especially like that pitching. Oh my gosh. How do I get all of them on the Bolts?
That's the plan. See,
you can't get all of them. How do you get them? I can't. Like, I don't want to face them. I want all of them on my team.
I think everyone would agree with you, literally. So
fun.
So fun. So fun. And also with the rest of the field. So, of course, the Big Ten, not Nebraska in this case, unfortunately, but two teams that they're sending to the Women's College World Series for the first time in over a decade with Oregon and UCLA. And then, of course, in chronological order, let's go with the winners. We all know this, but just as a refresher, because it was so much to process. Texas Tech, Oklahoma, Oregon, Texas, Tennessee, UCLA, Florida, and Ole Miss. 3 teams went undefeated, 2-0, Texas Tech, Oklahoma, and Oregon, but 5 game 3s, including Nebraska and Tennessee that we just talked about. That was wild.
So many like games where everything is on the line, and my anxiety. So I only know game 3s as a player. I never, and when I was on staff, never got to like compete on like win it in 2. Either I lost in 2 or we won it in 3. So I had never experienced like winning in 2 games is so cool. Like the fact that like one, I had so much anxiety all day for all of these teams, right? Because I know what it feels like, and it's just so much is on the line. Feels like you have so much left in the tank, and the thought of ending the season that day is like pretty gut-wrenching, right? And then I saw like on social media and stuff like Texas Tech watching the final games while they're at home practicing and hitting on the field. And I'm like, that is such a flex.
Such a flex.
Like, I don't think people understand, like, the rest of the field does not have time to practice. Are you kidding me? Like, right. I remember us winning game 3s and the bus pulling into our parking lot. The second that we had the out, they had the buses on standby so that you're able to deadhead the bus, load the bus with all the stuff, because you will get on a charter plane the next day to go to Oklahoma City. So like we were like scrambling in the locker room to pack our bags and put it on the bus so the bus could start driving to Oklahoma City. The fact that Texas Tech played an away series, win in 2, get to go back to Lubbock for a few days, practice at home. Like, I don't think anybody really understands what a flex that is, because I was like, they're literally chilling. They're getting feel-good swings on their home field while everyone else is fighting for their lives.
Literally.
Gosh.
Almost a week. Like, they finished Friday because they took care of business, like all the credit.
Oh, yeah.
So they finished Friday. They don't play till Thursday. They get almost a week before they have to play again.
When you're riding an ace like Nigel Kennedy, that's a huge advantage. Like, that's what they wanted to do. Everyone may be wondering, like, oh, running out Nigel again. Yeah, of course. Of course we are, because we want to win. A team like Florida State, you cannot give any extra, like, they got the mo. Like, you cannot hand over any sort of momentum for them, because once they have it, they don't give it back. So I think it was so smart. They had to do that, right? But yeah, and then to give Nigel this much rest, like, she's gonna be scary next week.
Oh, yeah. Oh my god. Like she isn't already, right? But even
Yeah.
more so, for sure. I thought of you too because I remember we talked about last week and you're like, it's a disadvantage to do the Thursday Super coming off of regionals,
Sure.
playing on Sunday. Like that turnaround's really quick. But if you do what Texas Tech did and win really quickly, apparently it's an advantage for the next time around for the
No,
World
that's a great
Series.
point, and I just didn't bring it up because I'm thinking like, no, it doesn't happen. Like
Right.
it's such a grind. Like they want, they want to win it in two. Everyone wants to win it in two, obviously, but you usually don't. So, gosh, it's just so cool.
It was. And she was just so dominant. I mean, hitting a home run too. Like I've just the two-way player that Nigel Candy has developed into is so fun to watch.
Yeah.
And I had to look into this because I saw beforehand that she was leading the team in home runs. She was the only one with double digits going into supers. She has 11, still leading the team. She's hit more than she's given up all season long. The amount of at bats, so she's only given up 9. She's hit 11, given up 9. 699 at bats that she has had as a pitcher, and she's given up 9 home runs. Insane.
Insane. That's like what's so unfortunate with Florida State getting that matchup.
Totally. Totally. Yeah.
Like you just had a feeling it was going to be so brutal for whoever got the Texas Tech matchup because of who you have to face in the circle. Because it doesn't matter what number, especially in the postseason. Everybody is so good. Everybody can hit. Everyone can play defense. Everyone knows how to win, right? But there's a difference preparing for such an ace like Nyjah Kennedy or Jordy Ball or Carlin Pickens. But obviously, I think Nyjah stands a little bit in a class of her own of just what she's been able to do and how dominant she is. Like runs off of Nyjah are just so scarce. Like you really need to be able to scratch one or two and then be able to hold Texas Tech's offense to virtually nothing. And if you know Jerry Glasgow, he might have made the biggest deal to get a pitcher on his staff. But in his heart, he loves hitting. Like he likes homers. He likes putting pressure on defenses. He likes calling crazy aggressive calls at all times. Like I remember playing for him on the Pride and he would call like 2 out, 3-2 squeezes with like Sidney Romero at the plate. Like that's crazy things that like only Coach Glasgow does. But it's a little unconventional, but obviously it works too. Like he likes the fast-paced softball of putting pressure on people. And so to hold an offense like that to 0 is really difficult. And that's really what it looks like you're going to have to do in order to beat Texas Tech and Nyjah.
Yes. And him, by the way, driving the pitching machines like 17 hours from Lubbock to Tallahassee, that's iconic behavior. And I know that's not his first time, right?
No. Yeah. If you know Jerry Glasgow, then you know that that's not his first time doing that, obviously. So I played for him on the Pride, and we're based out of Florida. And we had our championships and things in Rosemont in Chicago. And the team flew, and he got in his truck and drove the pitching machines. That is something that he loves to do. He loves the pitching machines. He thinks that it prepares hitters so great to like be able to face elite pitching. Like I remember for the first time that I was going to face Kat Osterman, and he had the pitching machine throwing this like disgusting, like the most disgusting drop ball. And mind you, like Kat's drop ball is insane, like insane.
Yeah.
But this drop ball was crazier than even Cats. So it was just like, if you can hit this, you can hit Cats. So obviously he lives and dies by that, but that's just Coach Glasgow. That's what he does.
Yeah. Honestly, too, having obviously covered Nyjah very closely the past couple of years before this season, I could see development in her swing, let alone the entire lineup, right? Yeah. So then when you see that trickled 1 through 9 and even off the bench, etc. Totally. And like you said, he's totally known for this. Every single program he's been at, he has raised the bar, whether that's college, whether that's pro. Like you said, he won a national championship in travel ball. Like he's done it all, really.
Yeah. Yeah. And obviously his first trip as a head coach. So, I mean,
hard to believe.
Very hard to believe, but I'm so happy for him. Like he is such a great person and his family is so great and he works so hard and he's wanted this for so long. And to see the camera pan over to him of him, just the biggest smile, soaking up the moment, like just over the moon for him and his family. And obviously they've been through a lot, losing Jerry Ann years ago, but obviously she's still in his heart, and I'm sure he's thinking about her all the time, every day. And so I just know that, she's smiling up above, like so cool seeing her dad clinch to go to Oklahoma City. Like what a cool moment. And again, like I can't stress enough how happy I am for him. So cool.
And when we had him on the show last year, of course he was with Louisiana at the time, but he radiated that energy that you're talking about.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you brought up Jerry Ann, because between what we've seen him go through adversity-wise off the field, and then you look at Lonnie Alameda and what she's gone through this season, battling breast cancer, probably the most inspirational super regional that had nothing to do with softball, actually. Just looking at them.
Such a great point. And it was definitely one of those supers that you wanted it so bad for both programs. And Florida State, it was really like, I'm sad not to see Michaela Edenfield compete with that Seminole jersey on anymore. Like I'm genuinely sad for some of these seniors that they've ended their careers. And like, obviously I'm so thankful Michaela's going to be a Volt.
Yes.
Let's go. Like she's going to join my team, which I cannot wait for. I'm super fired up about that, but there's just nothing like playing for your college program. And it's just a little weird to not like see these people. So my heart just hurts with them, because when you love a place that much, it hurts a lot. Yes. But it's a blessing to feel that hurt because you love it so much. But definitely my heart goes out to the Florida State seniors who, I just love the way that Florida State is coming from a Gator. I always loved the way that Florida State competes, the way that they love their program, the way that they love their head coach. I know it meant a lot to them to compete hard for her and make her proud, especially this year. And they always do. But I couldn't agree. There was definitely super inspirational and a hard super regional, because one of them had to lose.
One of them had to lose. That is the thing with supers. Like, gosh, everyone that has reasons to root for them, storyline wise, how hard they work, the talent, who they are as people. It's so hard. It's so hard. But I am glad that Michaela will be with you sooner with the Volts. So that's silver lining for sure.
Go Volts.
Another one that was heartbreaking for Clemson with the game 3 going up against Texas and being so close. And I know what that feels like with Coach Rittman, right? You know what it feels like in super to be right there. You know what it's like to get there too. So again, it's like that agony and that joy, and it's all happening in one place.
Yeah, what a series out of these two squads. I think, I was at the bottom of the 9th, bottom of the 8th, that Clemson had 2nd and 3rd, nobody out. They were the home team. All I needed was that one run to push across for them to go to Oklahoma City after winning game 1. So it really felt like their first trip was right there for them to grab. So a little extra heartbreaking that it felt like, and it did a little bit feel like, for me after that game, I'm thinking, okay, that was their shot. Really feel like Texas is going to do it tomorrow. Clemson came out and fought. Like it was still an extremely competitive game, where I was so impressed, like so beyond impressed with the way that Clemson competed, especially the second half of the year, but the last like 3 weeks of postseason, they were pretty dang good. Like they were really fun to watch. They had different heroes that they could count on. They had their same Reese Basinger and Brooke McCubbin come in every game. Macy Centron, obviously she got a little bit of time there, but for the most part, watching such a young program compete like that is really cool for me to see. Like and obviously I live in Clemson, so I'm more of a local fan. I love cheering them on, but just they did a great job in something that on paper you would say with Texas's batting averages and just their history, that it was going to be Texas all the way, like Texas was going to be in control. And it actually felt like Clemson was in control for most of the super regional. Like I would say all 3 games, add up all the innings together, and you would say Clemson was in their driver's seat. And it just took some clutch, Texas, they stood up when it mattered the most. Tegan Cavan did not have her best stuff. But when she needed to show up in that bottom, correct me if I'm wrong, bottom of the 8th, bottom of the 9th.
I think yes, late in the game.
One of those in game 2, she induced a strikeout, then a line out, and then a pop-up. Done out of it without giving up a single run. And obviously, her back was completely against the wall. She couldn't give up anything or else they were going to go to Oklahoma City and her season was over. So that's a baller. Like she stood on the mound and she had her best stuff when it mattered the most. And obviously she saved it for those 3 outs. But I was really impressed. Like I really thought, like based on paper, not based on trends, because trends would tell you that Clemson was going to be in control because just the way that they had been playing and the way that Texas had been playing. So if you love trends, which I kind of like that, like especially when you get to the postseason of how much fun it is to watch certain teams compete, because it just matters what you're doing now. It doesn't matter what your stats look like. It doesn't matter what it looked like 2 months ago. Like all that matters is right now, who's locked in right now. That's why a lot of the times they show, what their plate appearances look like for the last 2 weeks. So of NCAA tournament, of all these things, because that matters more than even just your season stats. Like what are they doing in the last 2 weeks, right? Who's hot and who's not? And who's hot? The Clemson Tigers were hot and the Texas Longhorns were not hot, but yet Texas figures out a way to get 2 wins and they're heading to Oklahoma City.
So much fight from both. You're right. You're so right. And I saw Kat Osterman compare what Tegan Cavan and Reese Atwood did at the end of game 2 specifically. She said it gave her flashbacks to her and Megan Jo Willis, and not just the pitches themselves, right? But she was like, even Reese knowing when to call timeout, when to go walk out there and have the conversation, right? And that's one of the more iconic batteries that we've seen in college softball, and a huge compliment actually for her to say that. But it was true. I mean, they were locked in at that point.
So locked in. And obviously we talked to Tegan Cavan earlier this season, so we know that they're best friends as well. So best friends off the field, and they have I love watching them work together, because it does feel like they are like right here where they can look at each other and they know without being super emotional or Reese calls timeouts is like the perfect time. She's like, I love watching her catch, and obviously I love watching her hit too. And Tegan Cavan has such good stuff. Mia Scott is so good.
Yeah. She is. I think even, I want to say, yes, Mike White afterwards in the press conference was talking about how she's been a little underrated compared to just how many stars have been on the team throughout her.
Yeah, like where is Mia Scott's golden ticket?
Right?
like I know that only so many can go out, but oh my gosh, Mia Scott?
Yeah.
She's so good. And even like both sides of the ball, right? Like I feel like I talk it really from a hitting perspective, but Mia Scott playing third base, like, hey, like she's been so good her whole career. So I feel like, like you said, maybe Coach White is right where it's a little bit underrated, but like anytime she was up to the plate as someone who I live in Clemson. So I was like kind of rooting for Clemson, and I was not happy when Mia was up. I was like, yikes, like she's going to do something big. And she did, like every time. Like she's just so clutch and so good. Like where are her holes in her swing? I don't know. Can't see it. Like she is so fun to watch compete and such a baller. Like she's a baller.
Yeah. Gosh, you're so right. I wish there were a million golden tickets almost.
Seriously,
because there's so many.
That's so fun, because that means just our sport is so good, and hopefully that increases the demand for us to add more teams so that there's more opportunities. But that's just crazy to me. I want her to play forever.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree.
So good.
And some of her teammates too. Leanne Good and Katie Stewart were in the post-game press conference too. And what I thought was interesting, at one point, they asked Katie Stewart something about where she, or how she felt when she was moved from shortstop. She had zero ego. She was like, nope, that was the right call. Got to do what we got to do for the team. I felt comfortable and left. Like, absolutely, was all in on it. And then Leanne Good also similarly, they asked her, something about where she hit in the lineup. And she was like, oh, I just do whatever Coach White puts in the lineup. Like, that's where I'm hitting. I don't care, you know? And so I think you have to have that, right? Like to do what they did and to fight the way they fought. And she said it specifically, Leanne Good did. She's like, we know how to fight with our backs against the wall. And we did see that because Clemson did have them on the ropes. They really did, like you said.
Yeah, no, that's so impressive. And you have to love that out of like your teammates when, you know, it doesn't matter who, especially in the postseason, doesn't matter who the hero is, doesn't matter who gets the job done. All that matters is someone in our jersey got it done. And you could definitely sense it with them. Like that's really good insight. But yeah, I mean, it obviously was the right choice. Like Clemson was taking advantage of a lot of those mistakes, but like Katie Stewart's not a shortstop. Like she is an exceptional. She played a really great left field. Like what a cannon does she have? So I think if anything, she was probably a little relieved, a little happier. Like, and that's got to help in the box too. When you don't feel as stressed, there's a lot of pressure on these shortstops.
Oh yeah.
A lot of pressure, not to say that she cannot handle it. Like she's done a great job for the majority of the year. But I think if you would ask her like her favorite, at least what it looks like when you're a fan and you're watching TV, like it looks like she likes left field.
Yeah. And she did say it. Basically.
And she plays an exceptional left field. Like you could tell, especially off the balls off the wall, you could tell that she was playing at her home field and she knew it like the back of her hand. Her ability to like stay off of that wall that plays extremely hard, stay off and get those and gun people out at second. God, she has a cannon.
Yes. No, she was, that's definitely mental strength too, to just be able to flip that switch.
Yes.
And then not only like just, you know, move on without skipping a beat, but to be excellent after that, you know, in the outfield.
Totally. No, I agree with you. It's hard. You could most definitely turn and you can put more pressure on yourself. Like I cannot make another mistake. And that's not what it looked like. You could have seriously, if someone was not a softball fan, you could have told them it was two different people.
Yeah. Honestly, that's a great point.
And they would have had no idea. Like they would have been like, yeah, it is. Like they would have not even known that it was the same person.
And not everyone realizes that they lost before season started Vivi Martinez. Like their starting shortstop, Texas lost her. And even UCLA lost theirs with Alina Garcia, like early on in the season, their starting shortstop. So thinking about those types of things too, those are all the pieces that these coaches and these teams are managing. It's a lot more, like you said, than if someone just decided to watch, which, hey, we welcome you. We welcome all new viewers and fans, but there's a lot that, yeah. But have to give, and I know you and I agree on this. We've said it before, but now that the season's over for them, I mean, just Clemson doing what they did, starting 3-6, first ACC tournament championship, first wins in super regionals this time around. They've been like right there with Oklahoma a couple years ago. They've been right there in other moments, but their first win they got this time around too. So just, I mean, what a season, what a turnaround for them.
Absolutely. Congrats on your great season, Clemson. You'll be back.
They will. I really think they're going to be there soon.
Yes.
I really, really do. Yeah. Another dramatic one with a tie to South Carolina, actually, is the UCLA South Carolina Super.
Another one that had it right there. 1 out away from Oklahoma City. 1 out away. You go back to your ace.
Crazy.
And I think like if I'm Ashley Chastain Woodard, you sleep at night knowing like, hey, I gave the ball to the one that I trusted the most in that moment. And you sleep knowing that like, that's her girl. Like Sandgrass is her girl. And I was like all in for it too. Jordan Woolery, just huge swing, like so textbook of her. God, Oklahoma City was right there for South Carolina. What a moment for UCLA to capitalize on that. And similarly, like you said, when Texas took that, it felt like it was all Texas. And even though but Clemson gave a little bit more of a fight that third game than South Carolina did, unfortunately, but they just couldn't get it rolling. UCLA was in total control in game 3. Congratulations to the Bruins. They're 1 out away from getting their season ended early.
That's Bruin magic. It's real. As much as it frustrates every other program in the country, Bruin magic is real. That was insane. You're 0 for 6 on the day. Woolery doing what she did, first pitch, no hesitation. She's clearly not even in her head.
Looking like she was taking a BP swing.
Totally.
How are you not tight at all in that moment? She didn't look tight at all.
She was smiling before, which maybe that's the key, right? Maybe that's the key, but it was just such veteran behavior in so many ways.
Totally.
Yeah, it was insane. It was insane. I do have to give credit too, because Caitlin Terry getting the RBI triple before that, and then Savvy Pola bringing her in with an RBI to set it up. It definitely wasn't just Woolery's moment. It was all of that leading up to it.
It was a huge inning, but gosh, it was just crazy. Like you said, Bruin magic. I'm not admitting to it yet, but that's what they call it.
It's been done to me before, just having played against them in the pack. So I'm just I know it exists. One of my old teammates even texted me and she was like, that's so UCLA for that to happen. And I was like, you're not wrong.
It is.
I will say too, she was like, it's kind of annoying, but I'm happy for them. That's how everyone else feels other than South Carolina. They're not happy for them, of course.
Totally.
But yeah, that's just what they do. Record in the NCAA for 33 World Series appearances now, too, for UCLA. Sickening. It's actually it's kind of gross, in terms of just grossly over the top.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Totally.
It's wild. But you mentioned Sam Grass, and I do want to mention Jory Hurd too. I just have to give them shout outs for the season for South Carolina and what they've done in the circle. And we had Ashley Chastain Woodard on the show, and just even hearing from her players and how they talk about her, how she talked about them, they're locked in as a program. I mean, what she has done in the first year back at her alma mater is actually insane. Picked last in the SEC, and then you're a top 8 seed. Are you kidding?
Hey.
Yeah.
So cool. Yeah, I was really rooting for her. Just love what she's doing and how much love she has for her program, being an alum and being the head coach, it means a lot to her. And it was really cool to interview her, and then just to see them have the season that they did was really incredible.
Yeah. Before we went into the Super 643 charts, our partners had data on the odds for winning each Super Regional. The closest one of all of them, not surprisingly, is the 8-9 seed. It was UCLA, South Carolina. So 52% to 48%. But it was interesting because the 9 seed UCLA had the slight advantage over the 8 seed despite playing on the road. And I think we saw a 52-48% chance, that close of a competition.
Yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, that doesn't shock me at all. And just super interesting. I love that they give out that data.
Yeah, it is. It's so, when you dig more and more, it's you could go on forever. There's so many things that you could find, but some of them a little extra interesting. And the last couple that we've mentioned too, Clemson, Texas, and UCLA, South Carolina, we know that 80% in history of people who win game 1 in Supers move on. Those two defy the odds.
Totally. Yeah.
Texas comes back and does it. UCLA comes back and does it, and Tennessee, we mentioned earlier too, after Nebraska took it. So it ended up being 62.5% people who moved on after winning game 1 this time around. So needle's moving a little bit there.
Yeah, it is.
But then there was Ole Miss, Arkansas, and we waited and waited for this one. It felt with some delays, weather stuff going on, and then it was the very last ticket that was punched.
Yeah,
for Ole Miss. It was crazy. It was going to be history no matter what. We knew that.
Yes.
The SEC on SEC matchup adds a little flavor always, but that was another heartbreaker. Arkansas has been there so close so many times, and Ole Miss.
Yeah, I think first of all, I just want to acknowledge the heartbreak for Arkansas. I think that every year we're this is the year that they finally jump over the hump and they do it. And unfortunately, this year was not the year. And I was just so sad for them. And nothing taking away from Ole Miss. It's just you get to know, people, whatever. And I love the way that the players love Coach Deifel.
Yeah.
And hearing the way that Coach Deifel talks about her players and her program, it's like so wholesome. And I feel like we've seen it before of like the player or the final out or like one of the star players just be absolutely heartbroken that the season is done, their career is done, they didn't get it, whatever. And she's the first person to console them. The first person, like it's like a mom hug, like just her hugging Brie Ellis once the game was over. Heartbreaking. Okay. So I will say that I'm heartbroken for them because I just wanted it bad for them. On the other hand, Ole Miss, wow. Wow, so cool for them playing their best softball during postseason. Aaliyah Benford, wow.
Wow. It's right.
She really stood up to she was ready to roll. Like she had her best stuff, showed up for the biggest game probably of her career. Because I really feel like it's harder to win a super regional than it is to win in Oklahoma City. And you say that like, why? The competition is better, right? In Oklahoma City, there's just so much pressure and so much on the line that when you're there, it's a little bit more freeing. You know that you already accomplished being there. We're here. All we need to do is compete and win. Because regardless, you end your season in Oklahoma City, it's a success, right? Like, yeah, if you're Oklahoma or Texas, because of their seasons the last couple of years, you could say if you don't win it, then it might be a little bit of a disappointment. But getting there is the hardest part. So winning in Fayetteville against an SEC team that was pretty favored to win. But I feel like Ole Miss likes this with all of their sports. They love being the underdog. Yes. They thrive when people don't pick them.
Yes.
Like they love it. Like I saw so many of them like repost on social media the D1Softball picks.
Yes.
Yeah. Eat that. Like they love it. Like, guys, sorry. Like people have to pick somebody. And guess what? Based on your whole season, I'm sure again, I don't pick. So, you guys don't have to hate me. But if I were to pick, I was going to pick Arkansas. And guess what? If you guys were picking another one, I probably would pick them again. Like, I don't know. That's just the way that it is when you have to pick somebody. But like them showing up and acting like they deserve to be there, which they do. They earned it. Like they've earned everything. They go on the road in Tucson. They win the Tucson regional. They go to Arkansas. They win that super regional. But I think they really thrive off of like knowing that they're not supposed to win. That really works for a motivation piece for this group, which is fun to watch. You like somebody with a chip on their shoulder, like, yeah, like, okay, you don't think we're going to win? Like, watch us. And then obviously Binford, like going in there and she has some experience too, right? Like played in some super regionals with Baylor, especially coming most recently last year, playing the super at Florida. So playing in an SEC super regional, she's done it before, and they took a game from the Gators last year and went to a game 3. And she was a big reason for that. So, her having that experience, I'm sure helped, but so excited for their program. First time ever competing in the Women's College World Series in Oklahoma City. Like, got to feel so good for everybody on that team, but also their alums, like seeing, their program go to Oklahoma City for the first time. Like, so exciting. They should be so proud. And I can't wait to see more of that underdog mentality in the way that they compete in Oklahoma City. It's going to be so fun to watch.
That's one of the best parts about seeing the newbies, like a Texas Tech, like an Ole Miss, the alums who are so proud, who are like, booked my ticket to Oklahoma City. I'm showing up for them.
Yes.
That is one of the coolest parts. Of course, maybe the players' celebration might be number one, but close behind, the alums who helped build the program to where it is, absolutely one of the best parts.
Yeah, I think that Coach Deifel worded it perfectly when she talked about in one of her press conferences about building the program and getting so-and-so wouldn't, like, if I didn't get them, then I wouldn't have gotten them. And if I didn't get these guys, I wouldn't have gotten these guys. So she's talking about all these people that they were the first ones to commit to Arkansas. So the same thing of Ole Miss, right? The same ones to believe in Ole Miss and believe on the path that program could go. If they didn't say yes and elevate it more and more every year, then where would they be? So it is really cool for them to like share, and they should share in the moments of like feeling like they had a little bit of part in it, of their team reaching Oklahoma City. And it's so exciting. Like, love seeing it on social media of just the excitement, and book my ticket. Like, yes, so fun. And I'm sure, the current players are going to love that. They're going to eat it up, like having their people rooting for them in the stands, like unconditionally. There's nothing better.
There really isn't. I remember a core memory from college for me was my freshman year when we hosted Arizona for Supers. Game 1, we won. We went on to lose game 2 and 3, but we won't talk about that right now.
Sure.
We won game 1, but there was a group of alums in the stands, including Lauren Lappin. She's actually the one who was leading these cheers.
Hey,
but we did, right? So shout out to Lauren Lappin.
Wildcats.
All right, I know. Now, ironic, looking back, the full circle here. But at the time, she was rooting for Stanford. But she was leading, and we do this across all the sports. It's a whose house, see house for Cardinals house, And so she was leading the alums doing whose house. And then on the field, all of the players, we were saying, see house. And it was back and forth. And that was, because it was my freshman year too, it was like, wow, I'm part of this family now. You just felt like cemented into that. So anytime I see anything like it, it makes me think of that and just warms my heart for
shout out
everyone.
Lauren
Shout out Lab. Yeah. Oh, so good. And you mentioned Binford a few times. Have to say, retired 16 out of the last 17 batters that she faced. So just casual.
Sickening.
Right. And Ole Miss did take the regular season series from Arkansas, but then Arkansas took game 3 20-3. Yeah. So, I think that's why we were like, well, anything can happen in this super.
Totally.
But, they keep rolling to OKC. The Rebs are hot.
Congratulations. Don't let the Rebs get hot. I think they're already hot.
Yeah, it's too late. It's too late now.
Yeah, too late is right.
Well, now that we're talking about a little bit of our own experiences, Georgia, Florida, Amanda, they are moving on, your Gators, to the Women's College World Series. You brought up some of your past trauma last week. Are you healing with this?
So I think that there is a wound inside of my heart that will never heal. But I will say it did heal a little bit. Because I had made it up like maybe there's a curse. Maybe God is a Georgia Bulldog. Like, I really was just like in my feels. Thank you, God. Like, the Gators pulled through. So fun to watch. I was really nervous in that game 3. I was really nervous. But gosh, like Georgia really, an unseeded team, like go on the road to Durham, win that regional, and then coming down to Gainesville and taking game 2, huge, like really huge congrats to them. They went through the SEC series, regular season and did not win one series.
Yeah.
So they did not win one series, yet they ended their season in a super regional.
Yep.
That's something to be really proud of. And if in a season that might have felt like a little bit of, wow, we had a lot of rough patches, but to figure out a way to win when it mattered the most, like they should be really proud of themselves and proud of their season. Yeah. And I love Coach Tony Baldwin. Yes. And on the other side, so proud of the Gators. I thought Keegan Rothrock had the 2 best starts of the season this weekend. Friday and Sunday, she was exceptional. Like, she was absolutely exceptional. And Friday, the Florida Gator offense did a great job of putting up some runs and getting her some run support early. I think she carried a no-hitter into the 6th inning on Friday, which is really hard to do against a Georgia offense, which, if you know, historically, Georgia can always hit, and especially Coach Tony does a great job at coaching hitting. Like, he does a great job at giving you a specific plan. And so Keegan was exceptional on Friday. She started it again on Saturday. Not as great. She had a quick leash, so it got pulled pretty early. But again, on Sunday, she was pretty exceptional on Sunday too. Ended up giving up a 2-run home run in the 7th, but she had a 5-run lead going into the 7th. So the 2 runs ended up not being a big deal at all, but they got some big offensive offensive showings from Reagan Walsh on Friday. She had a big 3-run home run in the first inning. And in a super regional, when you grab the momentum like that so early, like that is so important. And then they were winning 1-0 until the 5th inning. It felt like the Florida offense was not making anything happen. They left a lot of runners on base this weekend. And you could definitely feel like they were pressing a little bit, trying to hit a 5-run home run with nobody on base.
Right.
Just they really, you could see that they wanted it, and they were just doing a little bit too much. So I'm really hoping that they free up a little bit now that they made it, but huge swing out of Riley Holtorf. Not getting the bunt down a few times. So she, the joy on her face after that home run in the 5th, 2-run home run, made it 3-0. Kendra gets on base. Taylor Shoemaker, of course, hits another 2-run bomb. That's what made it 5-0. But the Riley Holtorf bomb was something that I think she was 0 for 8, her last 8 at bats leading into that. And guess what? No one cares.
Yep. They don't.
No one cares, because she had that huge hit when it mattered the most, of just figuring out a way to get something going. Oh my God, the joy. Like, I just love to see that, obviously being a Gator, but so exciting. Love that for those seniors to end their careers at home like that. Just so fun. So proud of them. Go Gators. Cannot wait to watch them compete this week. Just such a proud alum, and so happy for the Kendra Falby, Reagan Walsh, like, oh, those seniors. I'm so happy for them that they get to end their careers in Oklahoma City.
It's the best place to do it. Yes. I mean, there's nothing like it. Like you've said so many times. It's so true. And you mentioned so many amazing players. Kendra Falby, Taylor Shoemaker, congrats to them, among many others actually that we've already talked about throughout these supers. But D1Softball All-Americans for a reason. And yes, I don't think there's anything really much more fun than watching Kendra Falby play center field. So just saying.
Nothing. I hope she plays forever.
Yeah, we need a golden ticket for her too. Add that to the list. Hopefully we keep seeing her play. That's that would be a gift for all of us. And you mentioned too certain points during the super. I do want to give some credit to the Georgia pitchers, specifically Lily Backus and Randy Rolling. They're both workhorses this year. Over 150 innings pitched for both of them. You know, the ERA is a little over 3 on the season, largely due to SEC play, because obviously it's stacked. But I have seen both pitch in person. I remember seeing Lily Backus actually in a preseason tournament at Stanford, and I was very impressed. I was like, wow, this girl's good. Mm-hmm. And then Randy Rolling, when she was at Cal for her freshman year, you know, seeing the lefty, it was like, wow, she looks pretty promising moving forward. And what a combination between those two. So credit to them, as well as, like you said, the whole team and Tony Baldwin for what they did going to Supers. Yeah, man, another SEC on SEC matchup. Crazy. Yes. But one of the ones we could not have predicted matchup wise, Liberty and Oregon in Eugene. Yeah. Some interesting moments. Desiana Patman just likes to walk off games. That's just, I guess, what she does in the postseason.
Don't put her in that don't give her that opportunity if you're an opponent.
Seriously. Yeah, and it doesn't have to be a home run. You know, she gets an RBI hit or a 3-run bomb against Stanford, whatever it is. Yep. She's ready. That Eugene crowd is awesome. Like, you can feel it. We talked about this last week. You could just feel it through the broadcast.
It was so fun to watch them. Like, I felt like you had such a good softball game going on, yet when that game was on my TV, I was paying attention to the stands.
Yeah.
Like,
yes.
They were so into it, and I'm sorry, like, we talk about the SEC a lot, I would say, because, you know, it's like top to bottom, the strongest conference that we have right now. And just with SEC football, the way that it is, the fans are just, you know.
Fan base, yeah, absolutely.
Are crazy. Oregon's fan base, I underestimated them. Like, seeing them show up at the Jane, especially in the postseason for their softball program, has been so beautiful to me. Like, the amount of passion that, like, I feel like I don't know, you normally see that like in the Southeast, and
totally
these people show up in the Alabamas and the way that they are. No, that crowd might have been the best of the whole postseason. Like, it was seriously legit. And if you're a
Yeah.
recruit watching that and you see that many fans show up in Oregon,
Oh,
like
yeah.
to watch the softball team compete, like they appreciate our sport on another level. And it was so fun to watch. And I gotta think if you're a player, it's so like infectious. And it
Yeah.
feels like, wow, like how can we lose when we have this crowd behind us?
Totally. And it is for Melissa Lombardi since she took over the program, the
Yeah.
first World Series appearance for Oregon, first for the program since 2018, since
Yep.
she joined shortly after that season. And you could tell how fired up, to your point, the fan base was
Yeah.
for that, for her. I feel like she has sort of been quietly, in some ways, on the national stage at least, building this program up, back up to this point. And let's not forget, she played at Oklahoma, coached at Oklahoma, knows what it's like to win a national championship, was part of, as a player and a coach,
Yep.
some of those efforts for the Sooners. She gets it. And then we talked about her staff behind her last week, too. All of those things are in place. And I think that they are just fired up to be going back to Oklahoma City.
As they should be.
Yeah.
And just huge congrats to them and their whole team. I can't wait to watch them compete. Obviously, the biggest congrats to Coach Lombardi. Just that was another moment of like watching her soak it up, of her going for the first time as a head coach was so cool. And I just like love what she's building there. And I love the way the players love her. So excited for Lindsey Grine.
Yeah.
Like, cannot wait to see her take the mound in Oklahoma City, especially that Thursday night game against UCLA. Let's go. Old Pac-12 foes getting after it. Like, it's going to be awesome. And I'm so excited for this Oregon Ducks team. They earned it. They beat a very good Liberty team that came out ready to roll.
Yes.
Dr. Dot had some elite challenges. Obviously,
Yes.
something on
Crazy.
film. The doctor was studying, of course.
Naturally.
And yeah, but yeah, what a great series. And I expected that to go 3, maybe,
Yeah.
just coming off that high of beating the number 1 team in the country. And they played phenomenal. They like really competed their butts off, but huge congrats to Oregon. Like, I'm really excited to see them back in Oklahoma City.
Yeah. They did compete, and shout out to Rachel Roop, who we had on last week. All she does is hit dingers. So, we hope that continues as long as possible as well. But with Oregon, you're so right. I mean, also got to give a shout out to Kylie Shar making the adjustment the next day after getting called for leaving early, lifting her foot and all that stuff, because Dot was just like eagle eyes lasered straight on there.
Yep.
But the fact that the next day, they challenged again and they're like, nope, she didn't leave early. She was good to go. And she was like, here we go. That's an adjustment right there. And I appreciated that.
Of course.
So we'll see that in Oklahoma City. I'm sure everyone's going to be looking at film for that.
Yes.
And then last but not least, for the Supers, another SEC on SEC matchup, Alabama OU. I think, Amanda, the way that the results ended in the end, OU has been the most dominant team in the postseason. They're undefeated, 5-0. They've had 4 run rules. And if you take it back to the SEC tournament, they're 7-0. They didn't get to play that championship game, of course, against A&M, but they have just been on an absolute roll.
The Sooners doing what the Sooners do. I mean, this is what they do in the postseason. They make super regionals look so easy. Like, I don't want to say the word boring, but it is. Like, as a viewer, it's like really boring to watch their regionals and super regionals because they're so dominant. Like, you have so many other games that are like punch it for punch. And I mean, Alabama came out. They competed. They did great. Like, this is not a knock at all to Alabama and the season that they've had and how they competed. But it's all the props to Oklahoma and the way that they do this year after year of like the most boring super regional, which is what you want. If you're on the team, of course, like, I want to win in 2 games. I don't want it to be boring. I don't want to have any stress. Like, I just want to get after it. And if you're only having fun, if you're a Sooner fan, and that's what they do in the postseason, like, they make this look so easy. Yeah. It's not.
No, it is not.
Winning is so hard. Winning is so hard. Winning a super regional is the hardest. Like I competed for a national championship. I never won one, but I played in it. Like super regionals are so hard. There is so much on the line. Like everybody's chest is a little tightened. Like it's really hard, but they just make it look so easy. Like no matter who it is, if it's a completely new roster, which is how it feels this year. It looked like the OG Oklahoma that we were used to seeing, for a number of years, the last 4 or 5 years, that it was just, there was no question that Oklahoma was going to make it to the World Series. And that's how it felt this year too.
That's one of the more impressive parts, is that they had 10 seniors graduate, but yet it feels, at least culture-wise, energy-wise, just mindset-wise, the same in a lot of ways. Like that is so, so impressive. And what an answer to the regular season series loss in Tuscaloosa. That's the thing about the Sooners, though. When they get punched, they punch back.
Yep. Absolutely. That's what they do. And can't wait to see them keep bringing that same energy to Oklahoma City. But yeah, not much to add on that one because Oklahoma just took care of business.
It was one of the more straightforward ones for sure. I will, like you said, Alabama, though, I mean, it was their 19th Super Regional. Patrick Murphy said in the postseason or in the post-game press conference, he was like, people might say that, oh man, this season was a quote unquote failure, but to make the change from where they were at mid-March, he said, he's like, their captains, for example, kept the ship in the right direction because it could have gone a different way for them with their early season struggles, but they stayed on course and ended up going to their 19th Super Regional. So yes,
exactly.
Yeah. Supers, man. It is crazy every year. And you're so right, even more so than the World Series in some ways. But we will take a look at least what the initial lineup looks like for the Women's College World Series. Oh, man. The bracket is so interesting. So, first of all, if we look at what the field looks like in general, there's 5 SEC teams, 2 Big Ten teams, 1 Big 12 team, of course. Now, if we're looking at the entire thing, you see the top half is SEC heavy with Florida and Texas meeting first, Tennessee and Oklahoma. And then in the bottom half, the newbies, Texas Tech and Ole Miss, meet for their first one ever. So someone's going to get their first win at the Women's World Series, which is exciting. And then you said it, Amanda, the conference foes, Oregon and UCLA, so much familiarity there. That's how it's going to start. When the bracket starts to cross over, that is whoever loses the game, the 1-0 game, let's say, if you win your first game, you go to that second one and you lose that second game, that's when you cross over to the losers bracket on the other side of the bracket. So yes, this is how we're starting out, those 4 SEC schools at the top, and then Ole Miss mixed in with Big 12's Texas Tech and the Big 10 schools at the bottom, but we could see some crossover depending on how it all shakes out. So, the familiarity piece, Amanda, I feel like is very clear. Texas, Florida, Tennessee, Oklahoma, we've seen these things before. Texas took the series in Gainesville. Tennessee took the regular season series in Norman, which was interesting. Sophia Nugent versus the Sooners, her former team, just Carlin Pickens versus the lineup in general. And then I think, the familiarity with Oregon and UCLA, like we said, Oregon taking the series from UCLA in Eugene. Ole Miss and Texas Tech did not play each other, but the Rebels are 5-1 versus Big 12 teams this year. The Red Raiders are 4-1 versus SEC this year. Both beat each other's conference, essentially, in the regionals, in the regional final to make it and take their path this far. So really interesting to start things off in OKC.
And probably the most interesting part is the top half of the bracket, all of those seeds held true. So you're saying seeds that were quote unquote supposed to be there are in the top half of the bracket. And the bottom half of the bracket is all quote unquote upsets. You have Texas Tech who upset Florida State. At Florida State, you have Ole Miss, who not only upset Arkansas to get there, but they upset Arizona in their regional to advance to the super regional. So it's like a double unseeded team. You have Oregon, who was the 16 seed, so obviously did not play number 1 Texas A&M, but still they were not, quote unquote, supposed to be there. And again, with UCLA, they played at 8 South Carolina. So you have all of the upsets are in the bottom half of the bracket. So I think it's going to make for an interesting play. You don't have like it scattered out of those powerhouses. It feels like all the powerhouses are in the top half of the bracket.
It is. That's a great point, because half of this field, 4 out of 8 of the teams, were not top 8 national seeds. Like you said, UCLA, of course, right there being number 9, but then 12 Texas Tech, 16 Oregon, and unseeded Ole Miss. And you said it, they had to get through Arizona. Ole Miss did to move on to Fayetteville and now to Oklahoma City. And correction, I said Red Raiders, they're actually 4-7 versus SEC opponents. They lost to Mississippi State early on in the preseason and then came back and obviously got those 2 wins in the regional in Lubbock to then move forward and, of course, make it to Oklahoma City. So it is very, very interesting. I wonder how much they're going to beat each other up in both sides of the bracket and what exactly that's going to look like. I'm sure we're going to see some more quote unquote upsets based on what we've seen so far. Yeah.
Can't wait to watch.
Man, it's going to be good. It is so fun to watch. Like you said, I do think we get to see some of these teams play a little bit more freely because they've gotten over the hump of getting to Oklahoma City. So it's in like, what do you have to lose? A game, of course. But in reality, put it all out there. Leave it all out on the field.
Let's go. I'm so excited for them. They all earned this moment, and I can't wait to watch them compete. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be a fun week to be a softball fan.
Oh, best time of year. And we know that every single year. Well, one person who is going to be competing with this field is our guest today. So let's head into the interview. So excited to have you, Aaliyah Binford, join us on the D1Softball podcast. First of all, just huge congratulations on all the amazingness that was Super Regionals, making history for your program and as well for yourself in your own career, your first ever Women's College World Series. So just first, how are you doing? How are your emotions? Has it set in yet?
My emotions are definitely everywhere. Honestly, I couldn't even eat dinner last night. I was like, I'm not hungry. I don't know what to do. But it's set in. Woke up this morning and was like, wow, I woke up an Ole Miss athlete going to the Women's College World Series. So it's been great.
So cool. So fun to watch all of you, and especially you compete in that game 3, trying to make it to OKC. You did it. You were just locked in the circle as well. What do you think made the difference for you to go truly next level?
Just my teammates. All of them have known that me and Taylor Strain were just one game away from it last year, and they were just there telling me that we had it. They had my back. I had their back, and I knew with them being there, we were going to be able to do it.
I know after the game yesterday, when you were doing your post-game interview, they kind of asked you, why? What about Ole Miss makes you guys the unseeded team that did it, that has made it and is going to the Women's College World Series? And you said, everybody doubted. And that's something that you guys feed off of. Can you tell me more about that?
Yeah, so we love just hearing the excuses from people. I mean, when we won the first game, they started talking about, sickness from the other team, never just a congratulations to Ole Miss. And that's happened to us all year. Anytime that we've won, it has been, it's because of this. But we put in the work. We have shown time and time again that we can do it. And my teammates, we thrive off of that. We thrive off of the fact that you guys are seen as the underdogs, and we know we're not. But we stayed under the radar, and we made it to where we were. And it's just been unbelievably cool to see my teammates thrive off of just being looked down on.
Do you think that being, sort of under the radar has helped you almost play more freely as a group?
Yes, I do. We actually talked about it a lot throughout the season. I feel like once you reach those higher rankings, you have a target on your back. Mm-hmm. and it gets harder. Everybody wants to beat you. Everybody wants to just jump ahead of you and show that they're better than this ranked team. And we kind of enjoyed being in the top 25 and for the entire season. It was comfortable. It was easy for us to stay there. And we knew that we were good enough to be in the top 10. We had beaten the top 10 teams. But it just allowed us to play ourselves and show everybody that, yeah, we're a top 10 team. We just stayed back.
That's the thing that I think is so cool about you guys is we talk a lot about, blocking out the noise, for example, the outside noise. And I think you guys do that, but you also utilize it. You don't let it get to you. You actually use it to fuel what you guys are doing, if anything. So you use it to your advantage, which I think is just next level competitor, for each and every one of you.
Definitely. Our team, if you've ever heard the word trolls, our team is a team of trolls, and we live on people doubting us because we just troll them. And half the time we agree with them. And it makes them even more mad. And I think it just makes us have even more fun.
Yeah, I love that, though. I love it. Troll your haters, right?
Yeah.
Troll the trolls. Why not? You're proving it, leaving no doubt. But the Rebs are hot. I think it's too late to not let the Rebs get hot. You guys are already there. It's happened. And you're trying to roll into Oklahoma City to keep that going. And Kenzie Fowler said something actually after and during the end and celebration of your guys' game to get you to OKC. She said, every team needs a little bit of postseason magic, and you guys have it sprinkled all over you to get to Oklahoma City. What do you think that differentiator is?
Just that we play loosely. We play with heart. We're a bunch of new girls.
Yeah.
Coming from all over the place. We have freshmen who make up half the team and transfers who make up the rest, and maybe 2 returners. And it's just, we didn't let that faze us. We actually embraced it. And I think that's the difference in a lot of things. We embraced what we were, and we loved it, and we just grew with it.
It's a great point because it's not easy. Culture is not easy, period, let alone when you have a lot of new people. You guys are very senior led at the same time as being a group of a lot of new girls who are together for the first time this season. But that culture was very clear, radiated off of all of you. And to do that in such a short amount of time is so impressive.
It was honestly amazing to me because that's what drew me to them in the first place. When I came on my visit here, I fell in love with the girls instantly. And my parents knew from the get-go that I was going to come here because I just had such a great time meeting the girls. And I just felt like this is a place where I could be myself. And I love that this team allows you to be who you are through and through and does not judge you. And we embrace everyone equally. And it's just been amazing.
It's been really amazing to watch. I can tell you that for sure. And when you were going into super regionals, obviously, you're a couple of wins away from going to Oklahoma City. How have the conversations, or have they changed kind of before versus after, now that you are going to start that Women's College World Series path?
Our conversations have been the same, which I think has really helped us throughout the season. Coach Jamie has told us countless times to control what you can and surrender to what you can't. That's kind of been our team goal, team motto. Even when we were in Arizona, when we lost that first game and we ended up coming back, she told us to control what we could, which was our attitudes. So when we got into super regionals and the same thing happened, we were like, we've been here before, let it go. We're very good at brushing things off our shoulders as if it didn't even happen. I could tell you that a lot of us acted like that game didn't even take place. Which is kind of crazy, I think, when you really think about it, because a lot of people would be like, well, don't you want to micromanage what happened? And you can't micromanage what happened. You can't control it. So you had to surrender to it. And we surrendered to it very well. And in the same conversation, even towards the last inning, I looked at my teammates and we all took a deep breath. And I said, don't make it bigger than it is. And Ashton said the same thing. She's like, this is nothing compared to what we're working for. Mm-hmm. Don't make it too big. Everybody slow it down. And we slowed it down.
So much easier said than done to slow down the game. We talk about that too, but to actually do it is a whole other story.
Yes.
And yes, to see you all do it again, just very impressive. I mean, just the never say die attitude, but also you said you're an underdog sort of mentality, but yet have the confidence to know that you belong there at the same time. It's kind of the perfect combination. I feel like it makes sense that you all are in the position that you're in now.
It definitely does.
You're like, yeah, we already knew this. It's fine. But for you to have to dial in both as a pitcher and as a hitter, of course. If I had to ask you, if you had to choose one for the rest of your life, which one would you choose?
I think it would depend on the day.
Fair.
I'm pretty sure yesterday I would have chose being a pitcher. But I love hitting. Hitting is, I think they just coincide with each other so well. I mean, I know what I'm going to get pitched. Do I still swing at pitches I'm not supposed to? Yes, because I get kind of excited. But when you're on the mound, you're sitting here and you're like, oh, I know how to get this girl out because that's how I would get myself out. And she's just like me as a hitter. And I think it just gives you more power in the box and in the mound. You're like, I'm doing the same thing you're doing and I can get you out just like you can get me out. And, but if I had to choose, it depends on the day. It depends on what's working.
That's fair. But that's the nice part too, is that you can contribute in both ways. It's wonderful when you're firing on all cylinders. Of course, that's the dream. But you have both where you can help your team out. Yeah. Well, you were named a top 2A player in the country by D1Softball in the preseason for a reason. It's been cool seeing some of the cool moments that you've had. I mean, you threw the first no-hitter for Ole Miss since I think it was 2014 in the preseason against Murray State, and then hit the first home run in the new stadium as well for you guys. So, hey, I like that balance.
Me too. Me too. It was probably one of the coolest moments for me. It really was. And just to see the way my teammates were just so happy and excited for me. It was just an amazing moment.
Yeah. And your team, obviously, like you said before, familiar with fighting through adversity. So are you. I mean, you were the 2024 D1Softball Comeback Player of the Year because you came back from that injury and had an awesome year last year. And then here you are with Ole Miss this year. But what do you think that experience taught you and how has it helped you get here?
It was a lot, but I think it grew my mental. A lot of things that will happen on the field don't necessarily like stress me out. It just reminds me that I could be on the bench again with my knee messed up. And so why would I let something like this bother me when I can just move on to the next thing? Because just like 2 years ago, I wasn't playing. I had lost my whole career my whole year from a knee injury. Mentally, it's grown me. It's also grown me. It's allowed me to learn the love for the game in a different view. So I pitch and hit. I don't get to see third much anymore. So learning to be on the sidelines and cheer my teammates on was something I was able to learn coming from that injury. And those are my two things that I think it grew the most, was just having a different lead compared to what I was used to.
Yeah. It's always the unexpected things that end up teaching us the most, it seems.
Yes. And it definitely taught me a lot.
Yeah. Well, it shows, and I don't just mean the results on the field. I mean your presence and how you carry yourself, right? And that passion that you have on the field, which really at the end of the day, and as you get older and further in your career like you are, I think you realize that that's actually the most important part of it, that and your teammates, more than anything. Yeah. Well, now that you're getting ready for that World Series, where's your head at, the team at? What do you think the world is going to see more of from Ole Miss?
I think they're just going to keep seeing us. And I still don't think people are ready to see the Rebels do what they're doing. I still think we get a lot of people doubting us, and they're just going to keep seeing why not the Rebs. They're going to keep seeing us fight. They're going to keep seeing us troll. They're going to keep seeing us work as hard as we possibly can on that field and show that we are not going to be beaten. And I think the world is just going to get ready to see a lot of the Rebs.
Well, I can't wait to see the Rebs in Oklahoma City. I'll be there in person too, so even better, I get to see you all compete. But I'm so excited for you all making history, but then just this specific team as well, doing what you all do is such a big deal. So congrats, and I can't wait to see you guys soon.
Thank you. Thank you.
The player perspective, there's just nothing quite like it, especially the current college players. But you and I get it. We experienced it, but the ones in the thick of it right now is a little special to hear from.
Yes. And to hear, someone who's going for the first time, but going for the first time with a program that's going for the first time. So just so special. And obviously she had such a big part in getting her squad there. So excited for her, and fun to hear more of, the whys and what makes her her.
So good. So good. And as usual, another thing that was so good were the plays of the week that we have.
Let's go.
I took a page out of Amanda's book this week because how can you not with this moment? And the way that I've been referring to this ever since is that this was absolute tomfoolery from Jordan Woolery. So let's watch.
Jordan Woolery. And the Bruins find a way! UCLA! Back to Oklahoma City! We're one win away from it. They force a game 3 off of Jordan Woolery. Their hopes of OKC alive. She was 0 for 6. And now 1 win away from another trip to the Women's College World Series.
Right. We talked about this, and it's like, what do you even say to describe that? It was absolutely insane. Even Courtney Lyle, the play-by-play announcer, was like saying they're back to OKC because that's how much momentum it felt like was on their side.
Totally. I was like, wait.
Right?
She had me fooled. I was like, wait, now isn't there a game 3? I was laughing. It was so funny. It was so good. But also such a great call.
Yeah, no, it was. It truly was. But honestly, what we were all thinking, it was only game 2, but
Yes.
It was crazy. And also her going on to game 3, she got a couple of RBIs in their win to ultimately go to Oklahoma City. So yes, Jordan Woolery, you are my play of the week.
Huge moment. I'm choosing some defense. And I will say that this was the unsung hero. Maybe not unsung, but Ella Dodge is my MVP from the Tennessee Super Regional. Obviously, Carlin Pickens put the team on her back, but Ella Dodge was a close second. Just the way that she didn't have huge home run numbers, but had 2 home runs on the weekend off of Jordy Ball, and then makes this unreal play to stop some momentum. Even Nebraska getting a sniff of getting the momentum on their side. So gonna let this play.
And Bland diving backhand down on the dirt. The throw to first in time from Ella Dodge. A home run yesterday and the glove love today.
And how about the explosion of her teammates? Look at the reacts on this. I mean, everybody laying it out. Ella Dodge diving up the middle, making sure she's got enough grip, get up just barely to throw out Sammy Bland at first base. But it's the reacts from all her teammates, knowing how big every...
I loved watching her compete this weekend. Like, so much fun, so much passion out of a freshman, the way that she competed and put everything on the line to make it to Oklahoma City. Like, that's a kid that deserves to play at the World Series. And I just had so much fun watching her compete in the box. Like, it just was the definition of not like, I mean, she had a great solid season, but definition of doesn't matter what has happened, and maybe not the person that if they had to put money on that, like she was going to be the one, and we'll go on to talk about it later, but she was the complete difference in that game.
Yes.
As well. She goes on to hit a home run, and that's all that Carlin Pickens needed. So hits a home run in the bottom of the first off of Jordy Ball, and that's all that was needed to send her team to Oklahoma City. So Ella Dodge, you have a huge fan in me, and that was really fun, huge play in Game 3.
I know. I loved your choice. It was a great one. And you're right. I think Jessica Mendoza even talked about how, if you're just looking on paper, like we were talking about, just on paper, you see the stats, you're like, okay, I'm not sure if Ella Dodge is the one we want in this moment.
Sure.
Yes, but the game doesn't know, exactly like what we've said, and she delivered.
Awesome.
So good.
Yes.
The play is always good. And then, of course, we also have the win and whiff of the week. So we have double the fun, I think, for this week's win. Some literal wins, really, with Texas Tech and Ole Miss, their first ever Women's College World Series. They're punching their ticket. Let's just take it all in.
Popped up to Allred, and that's going to do it. Nigeri Kennedy and Texas Tech are on to the World Series for the first time. The Rebels are rolling on to OKC for the first time.
Nothing like a first. We talked about it, but then we actually got to watch it all over again just now.
Literally nothing like it. I'm so happy for all of those athletes and the staffs. They work so hard, and it's just so special, and you just want to bottle up that feeling forever. So I'm really hoping that they just soaked it all up. Like, so cool.
Historic, euphoric, first super regional wins at all for both of those programs, doing it on the road, and the first and last tickets punched to OKC. So just bookended beautifully for us.
I love those choices. On to our whiff of the week was the unfortunate situation that Tennessee had to waste a challenge on this home run by Ella Dodge. Like, total missed challenges, I think were so important. And by the way, they only get 2. So each coach gets 2 challenges to use for their 7 innings. And to waste a challenge to prove that your athlete hit a home run in the very first inning, like, just so unfortunate. So what a whiff that this call was missed, and that Tennessee had to use a challenge on this. But shout out again. I guess I'm just choosing all Ella Dodge today.
Yeah, that's fine. Let's for it.
Oh, okay. We'll let it play.
Solid contact there again, and it is back off the top of the wall. She thinks it's a home run. She's still running, and they're going to tag her out at third. She thought it was gone, and so does the Tennessee dugout. But there was no ruling of a home run from the umpires.
Immediately Karen being like, yeah, we'll review that. Like, she knows, like, this run is so important, but also, like, the weird, like, run, like, wait, no, that was over the fence. Like, no,
right.
I hate that for her. Like, she still did a great job rebounding and, like, soaking up the moment, and then, like, still having the hype. The celebration was on point after, but huge, like, freshman hitting 2 bombs on the weekend off of Jordy Ball, one of which really was the difference in sending her team to Oklahoma City. Let's go. Shout out Ella Dodge.
I think that's happened more than once at Tennessee this year too, where obviously, so it hit the wall. The one thing I'll give the umpires is, like, yeah, it did come back into the field, but it hits the wall and then hits the bleacher behind it, which means it's out, right? So yeah. I'm now wondering if Karen Weekly's like, all right, we need some construction updates out there, because we cannot keep having this happen where we can't quite tell when a home run is a home run, because that's crazy.
I know. It's, like, so crazy to waste a challenge on that, but also just, like, so exciting. Huge swing out of Ella Dodge.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, absolutely. And, just an unconventional home run trot. And it just makes it, like, a little less, it's a little anticlimactic, but you said it, the Lady Vols made sure that they still held on to the momentum. When she came into the dugout, they were, like, all holding back one of the players, like,
getting
trying
her
to come
the
out of
mommy hat, getting the cash ready. They were ready to roll.
Yes, 100%. Oh my goodness. Well, what a Super Regionals week. What a Women's College World Series that we have coming up. D1 team's going to be covering it all for you, as usual. We're going to be on site at the Women's College World Series from first pitch to last pitch. I'm so excited to be back in OKC. You can follow along with all of our content on our social channels. At D1Softball is the handle. And then you can read about it too on D1Softball.com. Eric Lopez and Victor Anderson are going to be leading some live specials as well to preview the Women's College World Series on Wednesday, the 28th, before it starts, and then to preview the Champ Series as well before we crown a winner. So stay tuned on those details. But we're also excited, Amanda, because you are reporting to the inaugural AUSL season.
Yes. Report for our version of spring training tomorrow. So I'm heading up to Chicago tomorrow. Really excited for this, what this summer is going to look like. And I'm so thankful that all of the D1 softball listeners are so loyal to our podcast that they are all going to be Volts fans.
That is a great point, Amanda. I'm so glad you brought that up.
Listeners so much. Thank you guys so much for supporting me and my team, which are the Volts. VOLTS. We're the purple team. Root for us.
I think Kat Osterman and Kelly Kretschmann will agree with that.
Yeah.
So thank you in advance for that,
yes.
everybody. And for those who did stick around, a treat for you as well. The discount code in the postseason here, bracket 25. So 25% off of all D1 softball subscriptions. There is not a better time to get a subscription other than maybe at the beginning of the season, but you can catch up this time while we get ready for the Women's College World Series and just some outstanding softball that we're about to see. So bracket 25 for 25% off. Otherwise, thank you all for joining us. Cannot wait to watch this and absorb it all with all of you as well. And watch Amanda obviously compete this summer.
Thanks, Jenna. Thanks for listening, you guys. We'll see you next time.